Over the past 8 years, there have been hundreds of FNAF theories, if not more, from hundreds of people who all want one simple thing: to understand what the hell is going on in this series. And while most theories are either proven wrong or fairly ridiculous, ours included, which theories haven't been proven or disproven that make way too much sense for better or for worse? That's what we're exploring today. Let's do it. In a 10 dream theory. Most of you, I'm sure, have heard this before, probably all of you at this point, but could everything we've seen in these games actually be a dream? I mean, sure, Help Wanted gets kind of meta and in a way puts this theory to bed, but what if all of this are just things that we're seeing in a dream? Like, what if it's not the crying child in his home or in the hospital room waking up every morning? Like, what if it's William Afton dreaming about the insane things he plans on doing, and maybe how well it will work out, or at least how well it would work out for him, because, you know, he's a lunatic. I mean, time works differently in dreams. You can go a whole month of your life and wake up and then realize it's only been 6 hours. And sure, you're able to control your dreams, but that's very difficult to do, because once you realize you're dreaming, for the most part at least, you wake up, or at least that's how it works for me. So what if currently, at least in like a timeline sense, he's only actually considering going on a killing spree, and this is his mind telling him either not to do it or to do it, because again, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Or there is another theory that we're still dreaming through Crying Child's eyes, or I guess his brain, but now he's just further into the dream trying to justify what he saw so that when he wakes up, hopefully, he isn't terrified. Or maybe he played the games that Scott made in universe and then had nightmares about them. In at 9, the Cult of Afton. A theory I saw from matpat, and I'm sure all of you as well, and Help Wanted's Curse of Dreadbarrow DLC. And kind of, I guess, what is the end of the DLC? You're tasked with collecting 4 keys from the corn maze while Grim Foxy chases you around. And if you find all 4, a 5th one will appear. A glitchy one that's kind of brown but also glitching with purple. If you manage to get it, it unlocks a cellar, which looks like the barn, except it's not. It just has, it's the prize barn, really. But this time, it's all torn up, as if it's been decaying for years, and then there's a bunny mask sitting on the table next to an unlit candle, and then probably like a circle of what is either blood or candle wax. I'm gonna go with blood because yeah. Then you put the mask on and your breathing slows down, you relax, and then the DLC, or I guess this minigame, is complete. Then when you head back to the prize counter, the mask is there again and you can put it on if you choose to, but if you do this while holding the glitch trap plushie you get from beating the main game, you start seemingly having a conversation with someone, but you can't really hear the other person, you just hear yourself. Which leads matpat to believe that there is a cult forming around worshipping Afton. And I mean, since Glitch Trap is Afton's preserved code form, I guess, maybe the fact that Vanny is still possessed, seemingly, according to the ruined DLC posters with, you know, her red eyes in the corner, maybe this theory has more merit to it than we originally thought. I mean, if Afton is able to possess both Burntrap and Vanny, assuming Burntrap is still intact, maybe while his sentience with his actual body is his alone, I don't know, maybe this code version is still able to multiply. Or maybe, like, this code isn't actually Afton, but is instead just a virus, and Vanny is actually a robot. Who f***ing knows? In at 8, Psychopath. When it comes to Afton's reasoning for his, hobby, there are plenty of possible reasons, like his kids or his wife or I don't know, literally anything else. But there's also just the classic reason that there is no reason, and that William is just your typical run-of-the-mill sociopath who has no remorse for any of his actions. Now, the vengeful spirit referred to as the one you should not have killed seems to prevent this theory from being true, since if he had no remorse, nobody would really be considered someone he shouldn't have killed. But also, remember that they technically named themselves. Like, William didn't name them because the manifestations in his head are made by the vengeful spirit who wants him to suffer. So William might not have considered them, whoever it be, whether it be Cassidy or Crying Child, not someone that they actually shouldn't have killed, or even or had a hand in killing, okay? It's entirely plausible that William has no regrets for any of his actions, hence why he continued killing after he lost 2 out of his 3 kids to it. I mean, like, he even sent Michael down to see his sister possessing a robot who then also tries to kill him. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that he doesn't care about losing people that he should be loving. He might have even only had kids to actually seem normal. Like those who are considered psychopaths, or more commonly sociopaths, try to fit in with the rest of society. He could have just had kids to accomplish that goal. Plus, I mean, maybe he even killed Charlotte before his kids died. And because, like, we know that he was planning on killing before his kids died, as proven by the fun times. So yeah, there has to be another explanation that isn't his kids. So maybe he's just actually nuts. And at 7, Gregory is 40, or a robot. To be totally honest, the knowledge that this kid Gregory has exceeds even some of my own, okay? This kid is the size of a 4-year-old. He can fit inside Freddy, inside baby strollers, and various other small areas and objects around the Pizzaplex. He's too small to drive one of the go-karts alone, but he knows how to restart generators, operate a trash compactor, and start and drive a car, as well as identify a car battery, connect the jumper cables on that car battery properly, and then use those to fix Freddy's whole recharge every hour issue. He's also the one that comes up with the idea, because Freddy says that it's just not possible. Yeah, I don't even know how to do that properly. Like, how the living hell does this make any form of sense? And how do they try and solve that issue in the true ending, okay? Because Freddy is still going to need to recharge every hour, and they don't have the van this time around. So how do Freddy and Gregory make it to the hill without Freddy needing to recharge? Or like, how do they solve the issue in this scenario, okay? This kid, either way, knows more than I do, but somehow is still the size of a 4-year-old, maybe even younger. Because like, the size of a 4-year-old is actually slightly bigger than what Gregory's size would be based on the opening in Freddy's torso and Freddy's height. And a lot of math that we did in our other video, okay? I'll try to remember to link it in one of the corners. It makes no sense, okay? This kid has like a weird superpower that makes this game incredibly confusing and nearly impossible. It only really makes sense if he's a robot that was supposed to mimic a toddler who's been on for decades and learning this whole time. Or he's just secretly 40 somehow. I don't know. And at 6, Dave. Back in the glory days before we knew who William Afton was, we had many names for the one we knew as the purple guy. None of them were canon, but some people believed they were canon, and some still do. And while they were all confirmed as fake once the official name of William Afton was revealed in the Silver Eyes as well as sister location, maybe one or more of them is actually real. I remember people calling Purple Guy Dave before the Silver Eyes came out, at least I think it was before the Silver Eyes came out. But once the Silver Eyes canonized Dave Miller as William's fake name, we've kept our eyes out for anyone using a similar alias. Well, lo and behold, it took a couple years, but in Security Breach you are able to find a duffel bag that contains messages that holds lore and stuff, okay? You find them all over the Pizzaplex. Like one about night terrors after being in the daycare service. But before that one, okay, in the customer service area where you upgrade your complimentary ticket, you can find a bag that says customer complaint, you should fire Dave, he sucks. It's simply called Hi Dave, but also suggests that perhaps maybe William still has an influence over this place, or I guess more so that he may have a couple of people possessed in the company, which explains a lot. Or, you know, there may actually be a cult. You should join mine. Halfway through into number 5, Bribery. The fact that William wasn't caught or that everything seems to go perfectly for him has to have an explanation. Okay, there's no way that this guy just got that lucky. No way. Not in FNAF. There has to be a reason behind why the cops didn't check behind the bleeding and horribly smelling animatronics, okay? We know that this is the case because of the newspapers from FNAF 1. They confirmed that the restaurants shut down thanks to animatronics smelling like death and leaking mucus and blood. Here's a quote from one of those clippings. Police were contacted when parents reportedly noticed what appeared to be blood and mucus around the eyes and mouths of the mascots. One parent likened them to reanimated carcasses. How were the bodies not found then? Okay, they could literally just have tested the blood, found that it was similar to the parents of the kids that went missing if they didn't have the kids' DNA on file, which would be understandable, and then easily have gotten a warrant to take the animatronics. But they didn't, and the bodies were never found, and Afton got released. How the living hell is that possible? The only way that I can see it being possible is bribery. William had to be bribing these people. It's impossible otherwise, okay? Unless they're just stupid, which is plausible, but like, that's like police fundamentals, okay? If there is what appears to be blood at somewhere that is a crime scene or a suspected crime scene, you test it. Come on. At least if it's fake, you'll know. And at 4, limb transplant. William Afton is a tricky fiend. He somehow, no matter what, always seems to get his way with whatever scheme he's cracked up just because he's that lucky. Or just that kind of person. I don't know, maybe he has an infinity gauntlet or something. I don't know. But if he does, it would explain a lot, since in every game after the introduction of Springtrap where we see William Afton, he has a new design. And it's not a design that could easily be explained by just like the suit decaying or being torn. No, Springtrap to Scraptrap, like what? His head seemingly doubles in size. And then Scraptrap to Burntrap, it went back to normal, okay? Like what? The whole time, however, it also remained to be William Afton as proven in Ultimate Custom Night. So like, what's the deal here, Scott? How did this happen? The best explanation that we have currently is artistic license. Like Scott just ran with the idea that he thought he was gonna make Springtrap scarier, since a load of people were upset originally when Springtrap came out and he didn't want that repeating itself. But then in the process, he also confused the hell out of us. So then maybe in Security Breach, he went back to something closer to the original design and then just like swapped missing limbs out for Glamrock animatronic parts because, you know, continuity or something. Although FNAF doesn't really care about continuity. But again, the whole artistic license thing also explains the other design discrepancies, specifically Scraptrap, because that's just that is shameful. Getting close to the end, into number 3, false conviction. On this channel's previous full FNAF timeline video, which in my opinion is underrated, Shauna S commented, quote, "Quick little theory. You know how in the first game it says the killer was convicted for the murders of the missing children? If that's the case, I think Henry was falsely convicted. But since they couldn't find the bodies, he got 25 to 30 years and got out of prison when Fazbear Frights opened. It explains to me why he hasn't been involved in the first few games, and I will say I've heard a lot of different information concerning the missing children's incident, so my theory could be wrong, just wanted to put it out there." And then they gave me permission to use this in a video, so yeah. Honestly though, Henry being falsely imprisoned for the missing children's incident does kind of explain a lot, even if he wasn't like actually sent to prison, because again, they didn't have any forensic evidence because they couldn't find the bodies. Even him just like being accused would make sense. Yeah, I don't think that he would have been convicted because the case would rely specifically on circumstantial evidence, which is really difficult to do, especially if you're having like an actual proper trial. But when it's the death of multiple kids, they definitely would want to actually explore the avenue, so the case could have been dragged on for a while, until 1993, when the first FNAF game location closed with William inside of it, and then 30 years passed for them to open up Fazbear's Fright, which from what I've seen on the wiki is in an amusement park, but I don't know if that's the case. Either way, 30 years is a lot of time for new evidence to come to light, okay? And maybe Henry even got out earlier than that if he actually was sent to prison. But he didn't act until William was free, because again, why would he need to until he was free? Well, the whole he was convicted thing could be explained away by Scott not thinking that there would be another game, let alone 8 others, or 9 I guess at this point. He wanted the story of the killer explained, so it could make sense. But now, this could be a great way to retcon that explains why nothing happened until FNAF 3. So there you go, Scott. You can thank Shauna for that one. Great work. But ultimately, in at number 2, Vengeful Child. Okay, I know it's a controversial idea, but every time I bring this up, someone gets mad at me, so I'm gonna say it again until you all just accept that it's true. Crying Child is the vengeful spirit, okay? I don't know, it makes more sense. Cassidy, other than being Golden Freddy, has literally no lore significance, so if they're not, so yeah, okay? Look, you can't be Golden Freddy and possessing William. You get one thing, okay? You get to possess one thing. That has been the case for everyone except William Afton, because one of the things that is possessing something else is a code. It's sentient code. Cassidy has no code, okay? They're just a kid. If they possess Golden Freddy, they cannot possess William, okay? So Crying Child's in William because he dies in the hospital, and then Cassidy was in Golden Freddy and was released at the end of FNAF 3. Crying Child wasn't introduced until FNAF 4, okay? There you go. Deal with it. I don't care if you're mad. Deal with it. It's true. Okay? You can yell at me in my DMs after you follow me first, because I need the views. And finally, in at number 1, Remnant Lies. Okay, this is a long video. I know, okay? Just bear with me. Currently, what we know about Remnant and Agony tells us that to destroy it properly, we need to burn it. Hence why there's been so many fires in the series. FNAF 3, FNAF 6, and Security Breach all end with something or someone getting burnt. FNAF 3's fire was all about dealing with Springtrap. FNAF 6 was about putting everyone who knew about the atrocities that occurred at Freddy's to rest. And then in FNAF 9, we Trap multiple times to get him to stop possessing Freddy, so he's just even more trap, I guess. But this is all because Henry learned that the only way to destroy Remnant was it was fire. That's the only way to put these beings to rest. But is that really how we deal with these animatronics and Remnant infused people? Because while 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Crest Pro Health toothpaste, 3 out of 3 FNAF fires haven't worked, okay? We've been told that fire is the only thing hot enough to burn off the Remnant, but Remnant has also been described as liquid metal. Liquid metal is a hell of a lot hotter than your typical run-of-the-mill gasoline fire, okay? So it doesn't burn away if it can melt. That's not how science works, okay? I have extensive knowledge on fires, okay? Trust me. In essence, every single animatronic that was supposed to be set free by a cleansing fire hasn't. The only time we've seen souls actually be put to rest is in FNAF 3's Happiest Day minigame, which involved no fire and just putting souls to rest because you gave them what they want. Which leads me to believe that we were given false information. Dr. Talbert wouldn't really lie to us, right? I mean, he's researching to see so that his little girl can, he can see her again, right? Well, this is where the theory blows your mind, okay? I know it's long-winded, but I don't think Dr. Talbert is a real person. Or rather, I don't think that Dr. Talbert is truly his full name, or I guess his real name. Let's think about it, alright? Who else do we know with an endless flow of Remnant from an undisclosed source and a close personal friend that's working as his opposite? Yeah, that's right, William Afton, who made up the Remnant needs to burn line so that he couldn't be killed when Henry tried. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Sean, Connor Madrone. I'll see you in another video.